All right. So good morning, everybody. Welcome in. This is the morning message for Friday. And I almost said February 19th. What is wrong with me? January, right? January 19th. We got to keep the dates set because we have a lot going on this weekend with Pluto moving in to Aquarius. It's a big deal. Pluto takes forever to get around. And so when a planet ingresses into a new sign, it's a huge deal, especially one that goes that slowly. So I have my friend here, Dawn. She is one of our tarot readers and astrologers on Soulful Revolution. And we're going to talk about this. I've been doing readings all week long about this, about the axes of the signs, Aries and Libra. And I just did Leo and Aquarius today. We're moving into Aquarius, and for people who have a lot of Aquarian energy, it could be really, really super big change for them. That's what I felt when I was doing the reading. But I want to talk to Dawn here about, we just kind of, before I recorded this, we just started talking about a lot of different things, and I want to go through the astrology of things, and she's got a lot of great things to offer. And then we're going to pull some tarot cards about what we need more of and what we need less of and how we can work with this energy. Okay. So welcome, Dawn. Hi.
Hi, thank you for having me. I've been very looking forward to this talk.
Me too. Me too. It's always fun to talk to you, and I enjoy it because we have so much to talk about, especially right now. And so maybe you could just set the stage for us in terms of the astrology and what we're going to be experiencing. And, we can just go from there. Okay. So
Okay.
there you go.
All right. So we're going to start with the first ingress of Pluto into Aquarius, which is on that 20th date. And it's in the evening. And on that same day, you have Venus conjuncting the galactic center. So Venus is going to be getting a lot of downloads on that day from the galactic center. And I think that's going to tie in with what's going on with Pluto moving into Aquarius. And
Explain
eventually
what
you're going
I'm sorry, explain what the galactic center is to people, just in case they don't know.
the center of the Milky Way has a everything kind of revolves around it, and we're kind of lined up with that energy of that. And that energy is at 27 degrees Sagittarius. So anything that ends up going through that particular degree gets that energy from the galactic center. And it's almost like getting a download of wisdom is how usually astrologers look at that particular degree. So the fact that that is happening on the same day as the Pluto direct happening, or not Pluto direct, but Pluto going into Aquarius happening. And also on that day, Mercury goes out of its shadow right after the Pluto.
I know it would happen
Aquarius.
eventually, right?
Yay! Cannot wait. Mercury ruled, cannot wait. And I know you have a Gemini moon, yes?
I do, right? So I'm
Yeah.
my moon is just like, please, please, Mercury, go away, especially this time. It has been really challenging to me, and I know to you, we've talked about it several times. So
Yeah, it's very, yeah, let's be done with the whole retrograde
let's
thing
be
right
done
now.
with that. Right. Thank you. Thank you.
So I know in your a lot of your readings, you've been really showing that full moon in Leo is particularly strong.
Yes.
And one of the things I made sure of that I want to double check on is because Uranus 2 days later is officially going direct. But on the day of the full moon, it's at the exact degree that it's going to be moving direct at officially, meaning that especially the larger outer planets, when they go direct, either going forward or retrograde, that is a point of high power and influence in the chart.
Wow. Wow.
So yeah, so it, and the fact that it, Uranus is considered one of the co-rulers of Aquarius in Western astrology, and then you have, it's going to be ruling Pluto then with Saturn, is a very strong energy. And I think especially as we move forward immediately into that Aquarius time, just like when it went into Capricorn, where you have the banking system fail, all of that happened within a couple months of that happening. I think just be mentally prepared for things that are Aquarius related, like maybe misuse of information gathering for people, things like that. So just expect things to happen that are going to be coming out about the misuse of intelligence
Information.
information.
Let me ask you this, because I just feel like, when I was looking at this week, when I was looking at how it lines up for people with different signs, how this is going to line. And it was admittedly a general reading, because I don't know what planets are in people's houses and all that's 11/11, just as I'm saying this. I want to say that the feeling of Pluto, which is about transformation, like bringing up stuff from the depths into the light. And Saturn's very traditional, right? The Capricorn energy, very traditional. Like, we have to have rules that work. Pluto is like, all right, changing everything, right? That's a little bit opposite energy. It's like they're both vying for who is the king of the castle, right? That's what that feels like to me. When Pluto moves into Aquarius, Pluto is that energy of transformation, and Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, which is cutting edge, rebellion, all these kinds of things. I feel like that's kind of like thick as thieves. Like that energy, it to me feels more aligned, but aligned in terms of we are not leaving any stone unturned. Like we are definitely nothing is going to be patted down. Like Capricorn would be like, let's keep the structure going. We can't have things be too upheavally all the time, because I think then what happened right after the banking crisis, I mean, not immediately, but they brought in the new regulations, Dodd-Frank and all of that. And so the banks were normalized. They saved them, as opposed to Uranus and Aquarius and Pluto coming in. I don't think they save banks. I don't think they do that.
No, you're right. Yes, yes. And it's more of Capricorn is more of a top-down patriarchal energy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting that when Pluto makes its regress back into Capricorn, I feel like it's going to be like, hold my beer, I'll be right back. I gotta tear down some stuff.
Should we just go on vacation for September, October, and November this year? Because I just am like, I don't know. Plus, we have an American election going on and a British election in September, because they're not allowed to happen at the same time. I did not know that. The two because of the country's close alliance with each other,
Oh,
the old relationship where, very, very intertwined with each other. And so they're not allowed to have the British elections, which move all over the place. Unlike ours, which is like 4 years, we're very rigid about that, about when we have those elections. So that freaks me out, because both of those are happening in that, Pluto going back into Capricorn time.
oh yes. Oh yes. And I think too, with the whole thing with the Aries and Libra, with the nodes being there, that also ties into personal power, getting rid of toxic relationships, toxic people pleasing. And it ties in beautiful. Of course, the astrology is just a work of art, but
Yeah.
it's finding your own personal value and then finding your tribe, because that's what Aquarius is about. And with Pluto going into Aquarius, bing, 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 it's like, okay, I'm leaving these old relationships that do not work and then going towards these relationships that are supportive and people being equal without being the same. That's a
Oh,
lot
I
of
love that. I love that, because it's sort of like an Aquarius is very multicultural, very much like we are humanity. It's not like a us versus them thing, which is a really lovely thing, given kind of where we are in history right now, that there is, I feel strongly that that's a very important element that we're adding here, right? That we're
right,
adding in.
right,
Right.
exactly. And to me, that's one of the joyful things. Pluto is always going to show any corruption, which is what it did in Capricorn. That's its job to get in there and the ugly underbelly of everything. And I think in this particular time in Aquarius, it's going to come out immediately at the beginning, it feels like, because there's so much strong energy at the very beginning that I think people should just be aware that things might be coming out and you'll be kind of shocked and surprised, all this other stuff that went on in Capricorn. But that's part of the process of getting rid of that
Yes.
toxic secret keeping energy. And I love that you're doing the intuition training with us Pathfinders, because I feel that there's going to be so much that we're going to have to be aware of that. Oh, yeah, that doesn't ring true for me, you know.
Absolutely. I
Feeling.
mean, we're right because when we're talking about Pluto moving into Aquarius, we're really talking about the age of Aquarius. We've got all of this, and I want to get back to Venus and Mars and all of that happening. So put a pin in that one for a second. But this idea of the world being overtaken by AI and other things like that, in order to be able to tell what's real, you have to be connected to your intuition. And those folks who choose to not see that as a superpower will be kind of buffeted around by, like, what's real, what's not real, and be betraying really their core essence as a spiritual being. I hate to use that word, but I feel it really strongly that you, in order to be on your path and aligning with mission and purpose, that vertical connection needs to be in alignment, needs to be on. You need to know what the frequency is of real. Okay. And so we're in Pathfinders. Thank you for bringing that up. In Pathfinders, starting January 31st, we're going to be talking about intuition. I'm going to be teaching every single week about the learning your own frequency. What does it feel like when you're getting downloads or when you're getting information? And then, trusting it. Self-doubt is the enemy of intuition. And we have been acculturated to think that the mind is really the powerful thing, but the mind is an organizational computer, right? Garbage in, garbage out. If you are putting a lot of junk in there, then your mind is just like, all kinds of spinning around. A lot of anxiety comes from that. There's a lot of things that come in that aren't really for you, that aren't real for you, aren't on your path or anything. And it's hard to separate those two if you don't have your intuition going. So I really feel strongly 2024 for me is that mission of anchoring people in. Anchor yourself in the 3D. There is an objective kind of anchoring that's necessary, and then learn what it feels like, so that when everything is swirling around, like we're talking about with this Aquarian energy and the age of Aquarius, we're moving into the new earth. There's no such thing as a 5-year plan anymore. No such thing as right, all these things that were very true to us in the Piscean age are no longer going to be a thing, right? And even some of the information we've been talking about since I've had Soulful Revolution the past 6 years may not be a thing. Like, things are going to evolve at such a clip that your intuition is really so critical. So I love talking about Uranus, because I feel like it puts people on the cutting edge of their own experience too. So
And it's interesting too that Saturn, who's one of the co-rulers, of course, of Aquarius, being in Pisces, and it kind of ties in with what you just said, because guess what? Neptune is there, and the lower vibration of Neptune is victim mentality.
yes.
The higher vibration is knowing yourself, connecting with your higher self, and finding that true sense of, okay, is this the truth or not? And with Saturn being in that sign, to me, Saturn about being in Pisces is about getting that spiritual practice in there, and basically straightening out Neptune to,
Right.
like, okay, we got to have some order here,
Oh,
right?
seriously. I have Neptune in my first house. So this is especially important for me, just as a human being and being on a spiritual path and a spiritual being, that I have long had this real wobble between wishful thinking, even because Sagittarius is super optimistic, right? This wobble over into that dreaminess and like what could be. Aquarius supports that a little bit, like, yeah, think big, but
Mhm.
anchor it, right? Anchor it in like, okay, then how am I going to manifest that? And I love that we have Aquarian energy here with Pluto. And in May, we're going to have Jupiter moving into Gemini, lots of air. So I'm a lot of air. So I am digging that, right? I am totally digging that because manifesting comes like that.
Exactly,
Awesome.
exactly.
Awesome.
And a good thing at that time as well is setting in that that spiritual practice, because I think people are going to need to do a lot of grounding at that time. And just, and that can be as simple as staring at a campfire. That's a form of meditation, and so is walking in the woods,
Mm-hmm.
form of meditation. So all of those things, it doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to sit in a room in the dark and close your eyes and try and empty your head. I don't
That
know
won't
very many
work.
people that works for.
It
You know,
doesn't work for me either.
yeah. I'm like, well, whatever.
No.
If that like,
Okay, that's
floats
a
your boat.
bust. Yeah, no.
Yeah, yeah. So it's very interesting. And Pluto as well is, I always think of Pluto as if your fairy godmother is Darth Vader, right? You have this energy of, oh, this is what I really want. And Pluto's like, no,
That's not going to
I'm gonna
work.
try it anyway. You know,
Oh,
and it clears the floor, and then if you aren't paying attention, it starts burning things down. So
mm.
that's what I feel like. I
Oh my
and
gosh.
Pluto actually is your friend, though. Really, it wants what's best for you. It does. It wants what's best for you, and it will make sure you get it whether you like it or not.
Well, and don't you feel like because of Aquarius, it wants the best for the humanity, right? Because
Yes.
we're talking, right?
Yes.
Humanity and community. Don't I really feel like the future is we are not only finding our tribe, because like you're definitely part of my tribe, and there's this we have Pathfinders, and I feel completely plugged into that, but also community, like physical
Mhm.
community, moving to places, or some people could physically be moving to places where they're around people who are of that same kind of spiritual journey or whatever. You might not even really know it, but you just feel like this is the right place for me. I'm studying a lot of astrocartography, and I know we've
Oh,
talked
yeah.
about that in the
Yeah.
past. So that's a conversation for another day. We will
Yeah.
definitely do that.
Yeah. And
Um,
that's very true. Yeah.
yeah.
The whole the
Talk about
community.
Venus and Mars. I'm particularly interested in this topic, and I love hearing Dawn talk about this because I have Venus at 1 degree Aquarius. So Pluto has been running over me like a truck, backing up over me for a little while. But now Venus and Mars are coming in to that Aquarian energy. And I mean, and talk about the moon too, when you were talking about that with 6 degrees.
Right. Right. And so the first thing that happens is on February 4th, you have Mercury going in. Mercury, anything that symbolizes is like communication and thought process, all of those things. And anytime something conjuncts a planet for the first time, like Pluto, which is a slow moving planet, you're going to get a taste of what Mercury is going to be like in Aquarius at that time. So any of these
Okay.
planets that are moving into that 0 degree with with um with Pluto. So that's the first one that comes through. The second one that comes through is Mars. Mars is going to be meeting, actually they go
Hmm.
conjunct on Valentine's Day.
Oi.
So
Mars and Pluto. Like if you don't like the Tower card whenever it shows up in my readings, this is like Tower times 10, right?
right, exactly, exactly. So that's on the 14th. Then the ingress of Venus is on the 16th into Aquarius. So Venus has been following behind Mars this time, and what's going to happen is on 222, they are going to be conjoined at 6 degrees of Aquarius, which is 6 is the lover's card in the tarot
Mm-hmm.
deck. So to
Wow.
me, that's a strong sense of the masculine and the feminine, even if it's within yourself, getting that message to each other,
Mm,
communicating. I think there's many times you talked, and I think this is totally true, that a lot of divine feminine and divine masculine have jobs to do together in the future,
yeah.
and they're going to be moving towards that. It may not be immediately that happens, but I think that is the strong message that's being sent at that time.
Right. I love what you're saying about this because there's so much going on. And then we have Uranus going direct on the 26th of January, even before, right? You were saying about that degree point of Uranus going direct, and Uranus rules Aquarius. So there's just so much energy of cutting edge, change, evolution, transformative. And I love what you're talking about with, Pluto is your friend. It's like, let's get that muck out of there. Let's clean out the bottom of that freezer. Okay. Because
Yes,
it's a little scary, and it's, you're not going to eat that food. It needs to go. Like some things need to go. And I definitely, I have felt, I just did the reading for Aquarius and Leo, that axis. And I really felt the Aquarian energy. This was an intuitive hit, but it was supported by the astrology or whatever. But it was sort of like anything that has kept Aquarius, if you've got a lot of Aquarius, if you've got an Aquarius sun or Aquarius rising, Aquarius moon, if there's anything that's made you feel constrained in Capricorn, boom, like that feels so strong to me that you are just going to break that structure. You may have seen the reason for it, right? You may have understood that, structure underpins a daily routine that brings us health and brings us comfort. But so much new stuff wants to show up that it's like, you know what? It's too small for me. It's too small for me. I can't stay in that structure anymore. I can't stay, the little desks in the third grade. Like if you went back to those desks in the third grade and you're like, this is really warm feeling because I remember this, and third grade, yay, multiplication tables and learning how to cursive writing or whatever. And I can do all that. So I feel really good, but it's like too small. Right? It's too small. I've got to get out into the world. I've got to go get my PhD. I've got to do things. And people who are exploring things are dragging the rest of us with them, which is awesome. We need those kind of explorers. We need that Aquarian energy, and we need our intuition to know what's real for us and what's not.
exactly. Exactly.
Right?
And I'm really lucky because I have Aquarius at 6 degrees. So it's going to be right. I mean, I have my moon is there. So it's going to be
Yeah.
right on top of my moon, that conjunction.
Wow.
So, and it's in my ninth house, which I'm incredibly excited about. So, and I'm all about travel and all that. And I looked at like my solar returns for the next
Yeah.
couple years. Like I was talking to my son the other day. I'm like, I think I may be moving to Europe.
Well, okay. So that's blowing my mind, because I was just sitting here thinking, like, this is in my fourth house. This is happening in my fourth house, which is about moving, right? It's about your home, like where you're making your home. And I was like thinking about moving to Europe myself. And so I've been looking at different places, and getting that together. And I just fell in love with some of the places I've been looking at and really wanting to explore them, and feeling that. So yours is about adventure, right? That ninth house of adventure. Mine is about finding home, that
Mhm.
fourth house about finding home, and the masculine feminine being there about finding home with my divine masculine. That, by the way, has been going on for 35 years now. So I don't want to hear all y'all complaining about the divine masculine who won't talk to you for 6 weeks. I don't want to hear about that. I'm just kidding. I can hear about it. you
Well,
know,
yeah, it's that whole sense of, it's going to be, and things will be very quick, fast paced. It's just like
yes.
Uranus is related to the Tower card, that lightning flash.
Oh, yeah.
Pluto's related to the Death card. Something has to go before things can come in. You have to make room.
You
You
have
have
to
to
make
make
room. You
room.
can't just walk away from something and go, okay, I'm done with you. There has to be some, and it doesn't have to be, I really feel this pretty strongly. It doesn't have to be face to face with that person, but energetically, at the very least, you need to clean up some things. Some of you, when you are dealing with another person, there does need to be forgiveness, or there does, maybe for some of you, that does need to be a face-to-face conversation. Like if you're ending a marriage or something, you can't just like all of a sudden disappear. Like there's a legal thing to that. There's a legal contract to that, that it's going to, uh, when Aquarius wobbles back into Capricorn, about like the rules, You know, it's gonna like say, hey, you're gonna have to really deal with this. So it's like tying up loose ends later this year for that. So I'm excited. I'm interested to see how this works for the collective, because Neptune and Pluto and Uranus are all like collective generational planets, right? They have that. And so for you personally, when you're listening to all of this, you want to take a look at your birth chart and see where Aquarius is sitting. Okay. See what house that's in. If you don't know, I do an astrology group every other week. You can jump on a Pathfinders. Please be part of Pathfinders, because the intuition part is going to be off the hook too. So take a look at where that is in your birth chart, because that's going to tell you what part of your life is going to be most impacted. Like we were just talking about with the 9th house and the 4th house. It's going to really be impacting me in terms of my home, and Dawn in terms of her expansion into the world. We're aligned a little bit here, which I'm not surprised at, Dawn, because I feel like we're aligned all the
Yeah.
time. Anyway,
Yeah.
um,
The other thing too is in Tarot Talk that
yeah.
Jen and Michelle do. We did cover some of the same ground, but also additionally, I did pull up kind of like a little cheat sheet with the houses. So
Oh,
if you
good. Okay.
go look at it, go
Yeah,
over
so we'll
there
put that,
and
we'll
follow
drop the
that.
link. Thank you for recommending that, because the group of tarot readers, these guys have formed a community of themselves. And they do something called Tarot Talk, and we'll put the link to it below in the description box so you can go check it out. They are, each one of you guys is fascinating and have your own real specialties. I love the whole idea of one of the readers talks about the moon a lot, the moon and the new moons and the full moons, and she uses, you know, plant medicine and other kinds of things to work with the moon energy. Oh my God, like everything you guys do, your astrology is amazing. I'm just so honored that you guys are attracted to Soulful Revolution, because, you know, I feel like that's validation for this whole journey that we're on, that we really are finding each other, and you can find such great community. So I'm really lucky to have you guys. There's a link below if you want to go see all those, the tarot readers, and Dawn, if you want to book a private reading with Dawn, you're definitely welcome to do that. Would you like to pull a few cards with me right now, just to get a sense of I kind of want to, this is just for the collective. We're not going to go through each zodiac sign. You can look up my readings this week, and you can see how each sign might be impacted. I didn't talk in as depth as what Dawn just did about Venus and Mars and other things, but I want you to go take a look at that, just to get a sense for yourself about how that might work. And let's pull some cards about what the collective needs more of and what needs less of over this. We're just gonna, maybe we just hook it into this 8 months that we're dealing with right now, before Pluto goes wobbling back into Capricorn. So I'm gonna let Dawn go here first. Guest goes first, and you know, you do you, like whatever you want to do.
This the Cosmic Journey Oracle. Oh my God, this is, everybody should have this deck at home, because it
It
also
is a
gives you
great deck.
it gives you journal prompts as well in the book.
I love
But
it.
this is so much an Aquarius deck for me. It just is like screaming Aquarius to me. So I really want to use this deck. And I'd like to pull 3 cards, just like, you know, the general energy of what
Yep.
that's going to be, if that feels
Yep.
good to you.
Sounds good to me. I'm going to use the wisdom of the Oracle, and I'll pull 3 cards too after you're done.
Bottom of the deck. Let's take a look. Oh my God. Find your star family in this cosmic game.
Wow. Wow. That is exactly what we were just talking about finding community.
Yep.
And that's
And this,
that's the earth. Oh, that's beautiful.
all right. And off the top of the deck, see through the perfectly purple lens of your galactic destiny.
More destiny talk. I like that. And that's like moon. That's almost like moon energy to me, isn't it?
That's a Leo full moon coming up too. I
Yeah,
mean,
Leo full moon. I've been talking about that. Leo full moon. I can't wait for the Leo full moon.
and you cannot pour from an empty cup.
Wow. So that is the Ace of Cups. And we were talking about that the other day in Pathfinders, about the masculine feminine can only come into union. And that is true of your internal union too, if both have a full cup. Okay. So there definitely needs for that to happen. I'm going to pull a couple cards about what we need more of and what we need less of. Right away, these jumped out, regeneration and new life. So this is definitely Pluto energy, the Darth Vader of the helpers, and new life. I've been getting a lot of that people are, it's almost like, this is like almost burning it down or like a forest fire, that those, forest fires do help the forest to regenerate itself when it gets too clogged up and everything, it burns down. And they are, in many ways naturally occurring. Man-made ones happen too, which, whatever. But for this new life to occur, there has to be a clearing. Okay. So what do we need more of right now as a collective? Exchanging gifts. Okay, so many things come through on that exchanging gifts. First of all, generosity comes through. Each one of us has our own gifts to contribute to the collective. Very Aquarian energy. This is very masculine, feminine too, about us being able to connect to each other and be completely integrated with our own internal masculine, feminine. I love that. Exchanging gifts. Serendipity, a little good luck thrown in, little Jupiter there. I'm all about that. And the here and now, being present. This is intuition. This is about being present in the moment, and needing more of a recognition of people's gifts, a little more luck, and a little more being present. And then what do we need less of right now? Building blocks. Okay, that's very Capricornian. Maybe we've built some things that need to go. We don't need to keep, you don't need to keep stop, if you want to get out of the hole, stop digging. Okay. So there's some things on this planet that don't need to be, their lifetime does not need to be extended anymore. It needs to go away. Time for a nap. Wake up. We need to wake up. We need less of this kind of snoozing. We need less of this being, going into escapist kind of any kind of addictions. We need less of that. I like more naps, but if that's supportive of you, then you do it. But this is much more about you hiding or sticking your head in the sand. We need less of that. And we need less, wow, truth be told, we need less of us not taking in the truth, of us seeing a truth and then not taking it in. Okay. And truth has a frequency. So when, I see it all the time, people going truth, like on Twitter, they're like truth. So people know it when they see it. AI is going to mess with that a little bit. We've already had, 8 years or whatever of certain people believing this is a truth and other people believing the absolute opposite is the truth. So there's definitely some of that clearing up very soon. I think Uranus is Uranus and Pluto, no interest in any of that stuff.
I think too that there's all the cards are showing that as well, is that having that community basis. And for some people, it can be their church, and for others, it can be their, quilting group.
Right.
And others, they'll, I have different people that I do different stuff with. I have like an astrology group, I have the tarot group, I have, other people that I learn from that have other gifts. And I don't want to do that myself, but I do appreciate their gifts. So it's that exchange of,
yes.
It's like the Six of Pentacles. The Six of Pentacles to me now has come to mean an equal exchange. It's an equal
Absolutely.
exchange of gifts, and everybody is looked at as, okay, there's no hierarchy like Capricorn was.
Yes.
Everyone can't be a carpenter, and everyone can't
Right.
be a gardener. So
Correct. And those gifts are important. And I think that we have experienced, I know in my lifetime, I've been on this planet long enough, and I'm in my second Saturn return. Are you too?
finished it already. I did it. Mine was in Aquarius, so yay me.
Okay, yay you. Yeah, mine is in Pisces. So that Saturn being in there, that spiritual practice is really the thing that is a legacy for me, right? That's something that I'm bringing to the forefront. When you look at your Saturn return, you're looking in the second Saturn return, you're really looking at what are you leaving behind that is going to be serving humanity, especially right now when we have all this Pluto energy in Aquarius. How are we serving each other? And everybody's gifts are meaningful. Like nobody's, like you're saying, nothing is better, nothing is worse. You know, people who are dancers and musicians are just as important as the carpenters and the bankers. And there's not this sense of you know, child rearing is not as good as this, or child rearing is better than this or that, right? There's just, that is all going away. There's value to every single thing. There's, you know, and a purpose to everything under heaven, right? There's a purpose to every single thing. And I really feel like we're going to be embodying that.
I
So
think too that Aquarius likes the quirky. It likes that
100%, let
be
your freak
weird.
flag fly. Yes.
That's
Weird.
I was just gonna say that, exactly right. It's like, it doesn't matter if like you're different. It's because it's valued still. Everything is valued. And Aquarius really, it likes the offbeat, and
100%.
it's
Viva la difference, right? Yeah.
exactly.
Like, how boring would it be if everybody was the same? And how out of kilter would society be if we only valued certain professions or certain ways of living? We have to have the balance of the creative and the weird and the, you know, we have to have all that, the quirky and everything, which I embrace wholeheartedly. As a tarot reader on YouTube, I'm like, yeah, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for everybody to kind of like, you know, and I don't know if you have seen this, and we'll wrap up with this, but I don't know if you've seen this recently. I have noticed this in the last year. So this 29, 28-degree Capricorn time, when people are kind of like, yeah, I know I'm an accountant during the day, but you know, I dress up and go to you know, Rocky Horror Picture Show at night, or, you know, like whatever it is that you have that you may have kept in the darkness because of the structure and the need for certain kinds of life. And what if that's going to impact how I make a living and all of that? Because people are very, it's really root chakra stuff in Capricorn. But in Aquarius, it's like, those things are creating a full picture of people now. So we're really seeing how we intersect and how we, you know, I have a friend of mine who's like, we are so similar about a lot of what we do. She loves tarot, she loves astrology, but man, she went to University of Michigan and I went to Wisconsin. So we're like, brr, like mortal enemies during football season. Right. Of course, we're terrible right now. You know what I mean? Like, and Michigan, like, what, everything. So I was like, I put on a Michigan hat and I sent her a picture.
Well, and that's, again, going back to the notes, Libra wants everybody to be the same, and that's what we're leaving.
Yes.
Aquarius does not.
Aquarius does
This
not.
does not want everybody to be the same.
No, absolutely. I'm a 29 degrees Libra rising. So I am here to get it right about people pleasing and about that kind of idea that everybody needs to, you know, what did Frank Burns say? Hey, individuality is great as long as we're all doing it at the same time together. You know, like that's just Frank Burns, right, from Madge. Like that's just not how it works. So thank you, Dawn, for being here. I really appreciated the talk with you, and I learned a lot from you as always. And if you want to book a reading with Dawn, please do. I really recommend it. And all right, and happy weekend. I want to hear from you on Monday and see how things are going after we go through this weekend. All right, I hope you enjoyed that video. If it was helpful to you, please consider liking this video and sharing it with anybody who might have a need for similar kind of information. And if you like this video, check out these videos.